They thought locking you in the dark would make you vanish. They assumed you'd panic, collapse, lose yourself. But here's what they forgot. You weren't afraid of the dark. You were raised in it. You didn't fear being alone. You mastered it. And when the silence came, you didn't scream. You grinned. Because they didn't realize monsters don't fear the dark. They are the reason it exists. And tonight, the monster isn't hiding anymore. It's watching, waiting, becoming the thing they should have never underestimated. The isolation that made you dangerous. They left you, quietly. No closure, no apology, just distance. They said nothing, but made sure you felt everything. And for a while, it worked. You questioned yourself. You looked at the mirror and didn't recognize who was staring back. You reached out to the very hands that dropped you, hoping maybe, just maybe, they'd catch you this time. But no, they only watched. Watched to see if you'd crawl. Watched to see if you'd break. Watched to see if you'd beg. But what they didn't see was the monster being forged in that silence. You sat in the corner of your pain and realized something that changed everything. You needed nobody. The people you thought you couldn't live without were actually the ones holding you back. And from that moment on, you didn't look for light anymore. You became the fire. Their betrayal was the blueprint. They thought they broke you. What they didn't realize is they built you. You see, betrayal doesn't shatter real ones. It just peels the mask off others. It shows you who's real and who was only playing the role of loyalty. And while they laughed behind your back, while they whispered in shadows, while they made jokes about your name, you were taking notes, not to get even, but to get ahead. You were building the new version of yourself, the one that doesn't need a warning, doesn't need love, doesn't need anyone's approval. Their betrayal taught you the most valuable lesson of all. Pain is information. And now that you have all the data, you're no longer soft, you're no longer blind. You've become your own damn storm, and you're headed right for them. No invitation, no mercy. Monsters are not made in comfort. Do you think legends are born in comfort? Do you think strength comes from praise or from peace? Real strength is born in agony. Monsters aren't made on vacation. They're forged in war. You became a monster because life handed you chaos. And instead of folding, you built a throne from the wreckage. Every sleepless night, every panic attack you survived, every fake friend you buried, every betrayal you endured without breaking. It was training. Training for the moment when you'd no longer flinch. They gave you trauma thinking it would paralyze you. But it turned you into someone surgical with your silence, flawless with your boundaries, and unapologetic with your presence. And now, you walk through hell with a grin, because you know that fire can't burn the one who lives in it. They fed the beast, now it's hungry. Funny, isn't it? They fed the darkness in you, and now it has a name. They provoked, mocked, and tested you over and over. They thought you were too calm, too kind, too forgiving. But what they didn't know is that kindness was a choice that expired the moment they took you for granted. See, every jab they threw at your soul, every insult wrapped in sarcasm, every joke that stung just a little too deep, you remembered it all, and you didn't scream, you didn't swing, you just stored it, deep in a vault of cold calculation. And now, that vault is unlocked, and the beast inside isn't just awake, it's hungry. Hungry for purpose, hungry for greatness, hungry for revenge that doesn't need an audience. Because this version of you doesn't bark, it bites, quietly, surgically, fatally. Power looks like silence now. They expected fireworks, got frostbite. They expected rage, got silence. And that silence, it said everything. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You're done justifying your growth, your healing, your boundaries. Let them be confused. Let them wonder why you stopped calling, why you don't show up anymore, why your energy isn't available like it used to be. Because your power no longer looks like presence. It looks like distance. It looks like vanishing without goodbye. It looks like ignoring every attempt to trigger you. You used to respond. You used to argue. Now you just watch. Because you've realized something. Power doesn't scream. It disappears and lets the absence echo. And that echo, it's all they hear now. The return is never the same. If they ever see you again, they won't know who they're looking at. Because the person they hurt, manipulated, and underestimated is gone. You buried that version of yourself without a funeral. You mourned silently. And then, you rebuilt, brick by brick, cutting out the weakness, welding in the steel. Now when you speak, it's not from emotion, it's from strategy. When you smile, it's not warmth, it's warning. You're not out here looking for closure. You're closing doors. They're watching the same face, but the soul behind it. It's untouchable now, because once you've walked through hell and kept going, you don't return soft, you return sharp, you return dangerous. You don't flinch anymore. They used to own your emotions. With a word, a look, a silence, they controlled your mood. But now, they shout and you don't blink. They leave and you don't chase. They come back and you laugh. Because once you've tasted betrayal enough times, you start to lose your appetite for explanations. Now you move different. Your peace is expensive. Your time, ruthless. They ask, what happened to you? And you just smile, because they'll never understand that you didn't change out of spite. You changed out of necessity, because the old version of you died trying to please the unpleasable. This version doesn't flinch. It walks away and never looks back. Their fear is just beginning. They thought the worst part was your anger. They were wrong. The worst part is that you're done. Done talking. Done proving. Done defending. That calmness they hear in your voice. That's the sound of closure without discussion. And now, you haunt them. Not because you're chasing them, but because you disappeared without a trace. You became a mystery they can't solve. A silence they can't ignore. And every time they think of you, they feel that sting. Not because you said something hurtful, but because you said nothing at all. They're afraid now, because they know you're never coming back. From hunted to hunter. Once upon a time, they laughed at you, dismissed you, mocked your loyalty. They thought they could hurt you without consequence. But now, you don't chase, you don't explain, you don't even hate. You observe, and you outgrow, and they're feeling it. They see it in your eyes, that unshakable calm, that cold distance. They feel it in your absence. You went from asking to walking, from reacting to vanishing. You went from hunted to the hunter. And now, they're praying for the version of you they destroyed. Not realizing they built the one they now fear. The final evolution. This isn't revenge. This is rebirth. You don't want to hurt them. You want to eclipse them. To live so far above their frequency that they choked trying to reach you. This version of you isn't bitter. It's surgical. It doesn't fight for love. It builds empires from what was left. You are not what happened to you. You're what you became because of it. You are the consequence. You are the silence. You are the storm they never saw coming. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them scream. Because none of that matters now. You don't fear the dark. You are the dark.